Welcome to Smacky's Garage. Today we're going to be upgrading our headlights in our 1969 Mustang from our stocks to Holley Retrobright LED headlights. So on the headlights, I've actually chosen the 3000K or 3000 Kelvin or the classic look. They look like a nice set of headlights that we're going to try out. I'm really liking the lens and the overall design of it. So we're going to put them in and then we're going to test them out. Today, I'm really only planning on doing the low beam headlights. Because of the cost of these and I wanted to see how well they perform, I decided to just purchase two to start with so I can do the outside two, which are low beam and high beam. So we'll get those installed, then we'll take it for a drive, and then we'll do a driving review of them. On the 1969 Mustang, the way the car comes, it actually has all the headlight current coming through the headlight switch. That's been changed on the vehicle behind me. What I did is I bought a relay kit where instead of running the current in the full power through the switch, I'm just running it through the relays. What that does, it allows it to have a little bit more power at the headlights so that they're not as dim as they would be running it through the switch. That mod isn't really going to have much of an effect here since we're running much lower power. We're talking about LED headlights. I believe these ones are only 25 watts. So we're going to be testing these out and we're going to be connecting them directly to what we have set up now. One of the things Holley recommends that you do when you're setting up these headlights is really check the wiring. Since these are not vehicle specific, there's a good chance that your wiring might not be exactly what these headlights are. They do give you a pigtail that comes with it so that you can set up your own wiring and make it work for your application. Let's get into it and let's get them installed on this car. So behind the headlight bucket, you're going to see the three wires that connect to the headlight itself, and then you're going to see a spring up top. To take the headlight out, you have to remove that spring with a spring removal tool and then disconnect the wires. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to check the voltmeter to see if if low beam is where it needs to be. Yes, we are at 12 volts. So 12 volts, we're good to go. And the high beam should be the other one, but I'm gonna just see if there's any voltage there right now. There is not. So we are good. Okay, so wiring is checked. We're all set to go to the next, then put it on. One thing I want to note here is these are not easy to get off. Use a spring removal tool or use needle nose pliers, but make sure you have safety glasses on. After you get that spring off, it just pops right out of place. So let's go ahead and we'll swap the bulb over. All right, so to swap this over, I should be able to just take this ring off. So to take out these two Phillips head screws, and then it should just pop off. We'll slip this right in place for it, and then wire it up. Now you can probably tell that if this happens on the road and you need to replace a headlight, it's not that easy. So we want to make sure we drop this in the same orientation. So Holley will be up just like Ford was up. So we'll swap over to this bucket. Yeah, one thing to note is these lights are keyed correctly for the 69 Mustang. So I'm guessing all the buckets are the same or similar. Is this upside down? There we go. So you see all the keyways dropped in, so we're good. Let's get this back on. We can go ahead and take a look, and it looks like all the clips fell perfectly into place where they should. So now we can go ahead and try to get that spring back on. And as soon as we get that spring back on, we should be able to power it up and take a look at the difference in the light. So I'm deciding to take off the trim ring, and I'm going to loosen up the adjusters on either side because it's kind of a nightmare to get on. This way I can loosen these up a decent amount just to take some tension off that spring. That spring is flying around. I think if I do it this way, I can probably also put the spring on together. So unadjusted, looks pretty bright. So yeah, you can definitely see a difference between the one on the left, so the new LED, and the one on the right. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adjust it to where the other one is pointed, and then I'm going to put it back together. What I'm noticing is the sweep of the LED is further, well, I did point it in, so you can see it is pointed that way. And then that one is that. So I'll go ahead and drop it down, point it straight. But wow, you can really see a difference between these two lights. There's a massive difference. All right, so we got both on. I think it's time to go for a cruise. You can definitely see that there is a much sharper cutoff with these than the other ones. Now you can see the trim rings aren't on yet because there's an adjuster under there and an adjuster on the side. You can't get to those unless the trim rings are off. So I'm going to take it for a drive with the trim rings off before we go ahead and tighten everything down, because they were kind of a pain to get out after, or they were kind of a pain to get out with the light still in. These headlights are so much brighter. It's absolutely nuts. So much better. Even driving around at dusk, you can see the visibility is so much better. You can see the sides, you can see straight in front of you, and it's much better than the original headlights that were in there. Now I pulled into this parking lot to do some testing and adjusting, and I'm really happy with the location where the headlights ended up, so I'm going to end up putting the rings back on for this. All right, back from the drive, and they are really, really good. I'm really surprised at how well they work. You saw in some of the pictures of the video, it's unbelievably bright. It's pretty much like a new car, but it still looks stock when you look at the car. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning into Smacky's Garage. I'll see you next week.